The Secret That Changes Everything. The Wisdom of Solomon and Napoleon Hill. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because what you're about to hear might change the way you see wealth, purpose, and the power of your own mind. Every generation produces a few people who rise above the rest, not because they're lucky or special, but because they understand a hidden law. The same law that lifted kings, prophets, and visionaries from obscurity into greatness. This isn't a story about money. It's a story about the divine intelligence that governs abundance, the force that Solomon and Napoleon Hill both discovered thousands of years apart. Solomon, the son of David, ruled the most prosperous kingdom in Israel's history. His palaces glittered with gold, his wisdom attracted rulers from every nation, and his name became a symbol of divine favor. But what made him great wasn't his wealth. It was his mind. When God appeared to Solomon and said, "Ask for whatever you want," Solomon didn't ask for riches or fame. He asked for wisdom, an understanding heart, and because his desire was pure, God gave him both wisdom and wealth beyond measure. Centuries later, Napoleon Hill would write, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." It was the same revelation Solomon had received, that thought, when aligned with faith, becomes creation. You see, both men discovered that your external world is a reflection of your internal state. Solomon called it the heart, Hill called it the mind. But both knew, your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. Most people spend their lives trying to fix the visible while ignoring the invisible. They chase success without building the mindset that can sustain it. They want the fruit but neglect the seed. Solomon warned that pride goes before destruction. Hill warned that fear and doubt are the enemies of progress. Two different voices, one message. Your downfall begins in thought long before it shows up in life. That's why so many people rise quickly and fall even faster. They achieve success without inner stability. They gain the world, but lose their peace. Solomon had everything: wealth, women, wisdom. Yet he fell when he allowed his heart to drift from divine alignment. His story is a mirror for us, because every person who loses themselves in pursuit of success repeats his mistake. We forget that wealth is a servant, not a master. That the moment we worship money instead of the wisdom that creates it, we begin to decay from within. Napoleon Hill saw the same pattern in his time. He studied 500 millionaires, people like Ford, Carnegie, and Edison, and found that those who failed spiritually eventually lost everything. But those who kept faith first turned material success into legacy. There's a reason Hill said, "The starting point of all achievement is desire." But desire alone is dangerous. Without discipline, it burns out. Without faith, it turns to frustration. That's why Solomon said, "Wisdom is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her." Your thoughts are like clay. Every belief, every emotion shapes the mold. The mind is the workshop of God, and you are the craftsman. But if you fill that workshop with fear, envy, or doubt, you'll only produce confusion. So how do you think like Solomon? How do you apply Hill's law of success in a world ruled by noise and distraction? It begins with silence. The greatest battles of your life are fought in the quiet, in the space between your thoughts. That's where your future is written. Hill called it auto-suggestion. Solomon called it meditation. Both understood the power of repetition. Whatever you repeat with emotion becomes your reality. If you constantly say, "I can't," your subconscious accepts it as truth. If you say, "With God, all things are possible," your mind begins to attract solutions instead of problems. Faith is not wishful thinking. It's disciplined imagination. It's seeing what doesn't yet exist and walking toward it as if it already does. Solomon built temples from faith. Hill built millionaires from it. But both also warned that wisdom without humility leads to downfall. Solomon began to believe he was untouchable. His wealth grew, but his peace disappeared. Hill saw men who had everything lose it all because pride blinded them. So the true formula for prosperity is balance between faith and effort, wisdom and humility, vision and gratitude. Without gratitude, abundance turns toxic. Without humility, success becomes self-destruction. Every morning you wake up, You're given the same choice Solomon had. Will you think like a king or like a slave? Will you focus on limitation or possibility? Because your mind is a throne, and whatever rules it, rules you. That's why guarding your thoughts is not optional. It's survival. Every negative thought is an intruder trying to steal your crown. Hill said, keep your mind on the things you want and off the things you don't. Solomon said, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Both spoke of focus, the ability to hold faith even when nothing makes sense. Because true prosperity doesn't start when you receive, it starts when you believe. Many people pray for blessings but think in curses. They ask for abundance but speak lack. They want miracles but live in doubt. And so, their faith dies in their own mouth. Solomon's temple wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of order, purpose, and divine connection. In the same way, your mind is your temple. What you allow inside determines what is built outside. Hill said, a burning desire backed by faith knows no such word as impossible. Solomon would have called that divine conviction. Both knew that when your heart and faith align, mountains move. But beware of shortcuts. Solomon's greatest test came through comfort, not struggle. When everything became easy, his discipline faded. The same happens today. Comfort is the silent killer of greatness. That's why you must keep growing even when life is good. Keep praying even when you're winning. Keep learning even when you think you've mastered it. Because the moment you stop, pride enters, and pride always precedes the fall. Napoleon Hill ended his studies with one warning. The greatest enemy of success is fear. Solomon said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Both spoke of fear, but in opposite ways. Hill spoke of fear that paralyzes. Solomon spoke of reverence that guides. If you fear failure, you'll never move. But if you revere God, you'll move with confidence. That's the difference between anxiety and faith. One enslaves you, the other empowers you. So, what's the lesson in all this? Prosperity isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming aligned with truth. Wealth, health, peace, they're all reflections of inner harmony. When you think abundantly, speak faithfully, and act purposefully, you step into divine flow. Doors open, ideas appear, people come into your life who carry keys to your destiny. That's not luck, that's law. You don't need to be born rich. You need to be reborn in your mind. That's where everything changes. Solomon knew it. Hill proved it. And now, it's your turn to live it. So today, think like a king. Speak like a creator. Act like a servant of purpose. Because when wisdom and faith unite within you, there's no force on earth that can stop your rise.